Hey everybody. This is one of the first YouTube videos I've ever made. Um, but the first narrated YouTube video I've made. But I feel like it's so important. I just want to spread a word, a message that gives glory to God. So. I had an amazing day today. I had an amazing turn of events, and I want to talk about it. My life, if you know me personally, you know that my life over the last several months has been really, really difficult. I'm going through a divorce. My business is struggling, and I probably haven't told you. I've been seriously worried about being behind on taxes. My power was just shut off 2 days ago. I came home to a house with no power. I forgot to pay my bill. I've been worried sick about taxes. I've been thinking that I'm probably going to lose my house because of a tax lien. I've been afraid of forthcoming. The walls have been closing in on me. I'm surrounded by, I feel like David. I'm surrounded by my enemies, and I'm in a pit, and it's been a really difficult year. It's extremely, exquisitely difficult. To add on top of all the stress, I feel like I've been called to evangelize. When I read Matthew, where it said, any tree that doesn't bear good fruit is cut down and thrown into the fire, that struck a chord in me so hard that it was scary. In the parable of the barren fig tree, where he said, "Hey, you haven't beared fruit for the last 3 years," and a certain man came to find fruit on the fig tree, and he found none, and he said, "Hey, let's cut it down." Um, but he said, "Let's fertilize it and give it some water and give it another year, and if it bears fruit, then good. If it doesn't, then we cut it down." And I just happened to be a believer for the last, well, it was 3.5 years, right? And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm the barren fig tree. So I know it's my season to bear fruit. I have to bear fruit. I have to witness for Jesus. I have to lead people to. I have to lead people to Christ. And so I took a tour. I managed to land a tour at a local shelter, and the objective was to preach there, and witness to folks there. And I bombed this interview. He didn't offer me a slot. He said there's nothing available. I don't know, I assume that he's telling the truth, but I just know in my heart I bombed it. And actually, as soon as I mentioned my divorce, it seemed like the air was let out of the room, and I just felt like God left me at that very moment. And I've been beating myself up over it ever since. And, I've been feeling like abject failure in my business, and now in evangelizing. I it's been a terrible time. So a verse that stuck out to me. This all started. Well, it started. When hasn't it started? I haven't been bearing fruit since I became a believer. It all started when I kind of half-heartedly helped a woman. I didn't effectively help her. She was homeless. She was a victim of domestic violence, and I saw her at a bookstore, in front of a bookstore, and I didn't help her get into a shelter. And I've had deep regret about that ever since, and it's been a downward spiral ever since. And this last Saturday night, I prayed. I said, Lord Jesus, do you even want me? Do you want me to survive? I don't even know if you want me anymore. And it was an earnest prayer. I was totally straightforward with him. I said, do you want me to die? Like, is this, what am I doing here? And the next day I went to church, and my wife was there. She agreed to come, and my daughter was with me. And the sermon was about God's will, and how the Father was the Father's will to crush Jesus. And he was praying in the Garden of Gethsemane, and he was so stressed out that he was bleeding from his pores. He was sweating blood. And at the end of the sermon, the verse that stuck out to me, that's been resonating with me lately, that's been kind of popping up in my life is, "But those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint." And when I first started hearing that, I felt like I was missing God. I felt like I was missing opportunities. I wasn't waiting on him. I was being extremely impatient. And I was taking matters in my own hands. I wasn't trusting. I think waiting means waiting expectantly, waiting for an opportunity and seizing on it, right? And not trying to force your own will, trying to work with God's will. Take your yoke upon him, right? He said, "Take my yoke upon you, for my burden is easy, and my burden is light, and my yoke is easy." I think I'm paraphrasing, right? And I just kind of, I was just trying to cram as much good works as possible, and I was screwing everything up. And not to mention my life was falling apart. And I've been deeply worried about my business. My business has been failing. So anyway, this verse popped up, and God's will, and how it was the Father's will to crush Jesus. I'm like, okay, well, this is interesting. This is like the fourth or fifth time that this verse has came up. Maybe something good's coming. So I'll wait on the Lord. So Monday, I get a call from a customer who has a tenant who works at a large property management company in the city of Lansing, throughout the city of Lansing, and this guy is very willing to. First of all, he wants a repair on the house that he's living in, that he's a tenant of. And he also is very willing and eager to connect me to his property management company. So this is great news, We land the job, and I'm like so happy to have made this connection, because I've been trying to make this connection for the last 5 years. I finally make this connection with this company through this guy just by happenstance. So that's great. But I get out of that job, and I go to my house, and my power is turned off. I forgot to pay my bill, and it's like so dejecting, okay? My van has been overheating. I checked the oil recently, and it's already like empty again. This is my main van. Without this van, my business is dead. I can't, because I'm in a divorce, I can't just buy a van. So this is like certain death for my business, my livelihood, and it could mean jail time for me if I can't support the people that I'm supporting right now. So fast forward to today. I want to talk about today. I think maybe today is a good. I'll start talking about the good things, not the bad things. So today. Everything, I was still very negative. I'm still thinking that I owe the tax man an absurd amount of money, and So things started turning around. I started the day with prayer. I prayed by myself on my knees, and I prayed with one of my contractors as soon as I got in the van today. And so what happened? What do I want to talk about? Um, so I finish out the day. We have a pretty good day. Everything's gelling. I won a job. I won a project, and another customer contacted me about another project. So these are good things. I took a guy to, I took a friend of mine to, I did a good work for a friend. I gave him a ride somewhere that really helped him out. But then I started talking about, I started talking about taxes with my accountant, and which is never a pleasant thing. And he requests a statement. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go get a statement. So I go get a statement I go to the bank to get a statement, and on my way into the bank, a homeless guy approaches me and he says, "Hey, do you have any money for food?" And I'm like, I just dismiss him right away. I'm like, no, I don't have any money on me. Sorry, man. And I'm like, wait a minute. This is an opportunity to do good work, and the thing is, Jesus said, "What you did for the least of these, you did for me." And he also says in the same, I think in the same chapter, this is Matthew. He said, "What you didn't do for these, you didn't do for me." Right? You didn't visit me in prison. You didn't clothe me. You didn't feed me. So I started thinking about that. I'm like, hey man, yeah, are you hungry? Actually, on second thought, are you hungry? And he's like, yeah, I'm starving. So I'm like, hey, let's go over to here to Jimmy John's and let's get you a sandwich, and I'll get you a Bible too. So I get him a Bible first, because that's the most important thing. What I've learned is the most important thing is taking care of someone's soul first. So I get him a Bible out of my truck, and then I walk him over to Jimmy John's, and I buy him. And you're not supposed to talk about good works, but it's part of the story. It's so important. And this all really started kind of with a sandwich and a prayer, right? A Saturday night, just an earnest prayer. Do you want me? Do you really want me? And so I walk him to Jimmy John's. I get him a sandwich, and I even go one step further. I get him a potato salad, and I talk to him about the shelter. He doesn't seem to want to go to the shelter, but we shake hands, and everything's really pleasant. And I have joy in my heart. This gave me some joy, some really appreciable joy. So I go back to the bank and I sit down. And the teller calls me right away, instantly. She calls me instantly, right after I put my name in the computer. I'm like, well, that's weird. So I sit down and I ask for the statement that I need, and she says, sure. Can I get your ID? So I pull my ID out of my wallet, and behind my ID is a perfectly folded. Let me show you this. Behind my ID is a perfectly folded $20 bill. I'll show you where it was. It was like this. So my fingernails are dirty and my hands are beat up, but I probably shouldn't show you my driver's license ID or number, but it was just like this. And so I live alone. I've been living alone since April. And no one has access to my house, and I didn't fold this. I didn't do this. And I've taken my ID out of my wallet dozens of times in the last several months. There's no way, I don't understand how that got in there. Okay. So this isn't lost on me. I just fed a guy. I just spent, $12, $13 on feeding this guy. And all of a sudden, a $20 bill, almost twice as much as what I spent on this guy, excuse me, shows up in my wallet mysteriously. I don't know how I still don't know how it happened. And I'm blown away by it, and I'm freaking out in my bank. And this woman who, she's got a cross on her neck, and it says faith, and it's kind of cursive mixed into the cross. And she's like, I'm like, no, I'm like, this is amazing. I'm blown away. I just pulled a $20 bill out of my wallet, and she starts kind of making fun of me. She's like, oh, you pulled a $20 bill out of your wallet? I'm like, no, you have to understand. I just fed a guy. I spent like $10, and I got $20 back. This is the most instant. This is the fastest return on investment I've ever seen in my life. And then she was like, oh, okay, well, that's good. She keeps working and she keeps, she's talking about she's business as usual. I'm like, you don't understand. Like, I I don't know how this $20 bill got there. It's folded, and I showed her. I said, it's folded perfectly. No one has access to my wallet. So not to belabor the point, I'll keep moving, but I was just blown away by this, and it's no coincidence. So, and she it didn't really impress her. But so I go home and I email my tax guy, and this guy, he's not usually, they're not bubbly people. Tax people they're numbers people. They don't, they're not super friendly. I don't know, I don't know. They're just not usually responsive. I shouldn't say they're not super friendly. They're just not usually super responsive. Kind of in the same echelon as an attorney, right? Like, I don't know, not the greatest bedside manner usually. So I email my accountant, and he's like, "Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Aaron." He's replying to every email. He's super helpful. He's super bubbly. I'm like, what's going on? This is so uncharacteristic of this guy too. And then I also get news that the tax liability that I have is I just barely have enough money to cover the tax liability that I have. I'm behind on taxes like 3 years, and I'm thinking I'm going to jail earlier today. And all of a sudden, I find out I have a call with this accountant where I realize that I have enough money, just barely, to cover this liability. So now I'm really wondering what's going on. I'm like, this is wild, because for the last 6 months I've been thinking that I'm probably going to jail for some kind of tax liability or something that I can't pay. Like, this is a legitimate concern. This is not just me being paranoid. And the amount is, it's high. It's higher than most people will ever pay in taxes. And I screwed up. I really did. So this is a huge relief. And now I'm feeling even more joy. I'm really feeling joy. So I have a Bible study that I have to get to, and I'm just handling stuff. But I know, so I fed the homeless gentleman, a sandwich. I gave him a Bible. I'm like, I took care of the Lord Jesus today, because he said, what you do for the least of these, you do for me. So I'm like, okay, I got that handled. I can not worry about that, right? Like, I did my good work for the day. It's sorted. So I can kind of plug away. So I plugged away, and just probably 45 minutes, I had a Bible study at 7. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go witness to folks at the Cata bus station, and I'm just gonna see if I can win a soul for Jesus, and get my joy level up even higher. Things are happening, things are going well, so I'm gonna try to add to this momentum. So I go to the Cata bus station, and I'm striking out. I bring my backpack with Bibles, and I'm like, hey, I hand out Bibles. Do you want a Bible? No. Right and left, nobody wants a Bible. It's a pretty tough crowd. Nobody's really receptive. And I stay there for like half an hour. And finally, I'm like, okay, I'm going to take one more lap up and down. And it's a really long building, so you can run into some people along the way. And on my way out, like halfway past the building, halfway through the building, I see a couple. And I'm like, I don't know. I just kind of avoided them a little bit, kind of like the priest and the Levite that avoided the guy that was helped by the Good Samaritan. I kind of avoided him, but then I stopped just as I passed them. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna ask. I'm just gonna go for it. And this whole time I'm feeling joy. I'm like, what's going on? Like, I feel so much joy. It's almost weird, and I can't really figure it out. I'm like, is this a trick? Like, am I getting tricked here? Am I supposed to like I'm like almost jaded because my life is just, it's just uncharacteristically, like, I'm almost too overjoyed. And so I stop, and I ask these folks, I'm like, hey, guys, I hand out Bibles. Can I get you a Bible? And the guy says, yeah, sure, I'll take a Bible. He's like, what version you got? I'm like, New King James. I'm like, are you a believer? He's like, oh yeah, man. I've been really tight with Jesus, especially lately. And he starts talking about a story how, like, he was delivered. He was actually rendered homeless recently, and he just got a place like a month ago. And I read him the same scripture: "Those who wait on the Lord will mount up like wings of an eagle." And then I started talking even more, and he was with his girlfriend, and I asked his girlfriend, I was like, "So are you a believer? Have you accepted Jesus into your heart?" And she's like, "No, I'm still kind of feeling things out." And I'm like, "Well, hey, so one of the things I do is I help people. I help people come to Jesus. I help people accept Jesus into their heart. And why don't we make it official? Why don't we give this a shot?" And she's, and before that I asked her, "Okay, well, do you believe that Jesus is the Son of God?" "Oh yeah." So that he's one with the Father. "Oh yeah." I'm like, "Well, let's lock it in. You mind if I pray with you? Can we just say a prayer right now?" So I guide her in prayer. She allows me to guide her in prayer, and I help her accept Jesus into her heart. And just in the nick of time, it was like 6:55, and my Bible study that I lead was at 7. So I got to my Bible study like 1 minute. It's really close. I got to my Bible study like 1 minute before it began. The turnout for my Bible study was the highest, one of the highest it's been. And there was a gentleman there who he can't read. He can't read very well. He can barely read. But he has really good recollection of the Bible. He's super faithful, and he has really good recollection. So, and before I started the Bible study, we prayed and we asked for the Holy Spirit's guidance, that he would guide, and that it would be edifying. This guy is reading all these relevant he's asking us to read all these relevant chapters and verses, and they're all so relevant to everyone in the group, but especially for me. And I wish I could. Well, one of them was about the Good Samaritan. And how the Levite didn't help the guy that was just robbed, and the priest didn't help the guy that was robbed, but the Good Samaritan did. And that really, it spoke to me so much. And the fact that Jesus said, which one of these was loving their neighbor? And it was the Good Samaritan. And it was almost like not quite that the Good Samaritan was more justified than even the Levite or the priest, this Good Samaritan was more godly. That spoke to me so much. And then, it was such a good Bible study. And in the middle of this Bible study, I got a call from another really huge maintenance company that I hadn't heard from before, that I was also trying to get an account with. So I called her back, and I told her the story about how great my day has been, and how horrible it had been leading up to this, and how hopeless I was, and how I felt like God himself had abandoned me and left me. And basically, I failed him in every way. I failed him with my family. I failed him in this interview to try to evangelize. I've not paid my taxes, and I'm going to go to jail. There's just so many different ways that I've been failing, and then I've just fed a guy a sandwich, and all of a sudden everything is just meshing. And so I told her this story. I'm like, I missed the call, and I missed the opportunity to do the job tonight, but it turned out that the job wasn't a drain issue anyway. But she was so impressed with the story that she called the owner of the maintenance company, and the owner of the maintenance company also liked my story, and they have engaged with me. They're going to make me a preferred vendor for the maintenance company. This is a nationwide company, and I have a job tomorrow morning with this company. She said, "I already talked to my sister. I told her your story, and she wants you to call her in the morning." So I should also share this. So I went back to Jimmy John's, and I entered in. I had to get something to eat, because I wanted to be able to tell this story, and I wanted to have a brain that had nutrients, right? So I'm like, I'm just gonna get myself a quick sandwich. Normally I would have just like grilled something, or just made a sandwich or something, but I just needed something quick. So I went back to Jimmy John's tonight, about 45 minutes ago, and I ordered a sandwich. And the guy, I already told the guy the story behind the counter, because I went back to Jimmy John's and I fed some folks. But I told the guy behind the counter, and then he said, "You know what? You just got a free sandwich." And it was like, I just could not believe I got another free sandwich. Like, not only did I find a random $20 bill in my wallet, I got a free sandwich today. Like, and it's just like, I just can't believe what's happening. I can't believe it, but I can. So it just goes to show you. I mean, I'm not trying to evangelize a prosperity message here. I'm not trying to say that that if you give someone $10, $20 will come back. But what I'm saying is, what I think I'm saying is, and I think what the message here is, if you love your neighbor. So one of the verses that we read was, love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your mind and all your soul, and love your neighbor as yourself. Do this and you'll live, right? And living, truly living, I think, is bearing fruit. And if you're not bearing fruit, you're not really living. So today, I seized on the opportunity to bear fruit, bear just a little bit of fruit, and it was a full force multiplier. As I bared more fruit, it became more evident that I was being rewarded. And as I was being rewarded, I just leaned into it. And as I leaned into it, God leaned back. And I just know that I was rewarded, and that it built on itself. And I just wanted to share the story. I just think it's so amazing. And I had so little hope just a few days ago, and I have so much hope today. And I realized, and the other thing I didn't mention is, like, I found a great deal on a van. The dealership is being super cooperative. Everything is lining up so much better that I just can't believe it. And just a few days ago, I just felt like a complete disaster with impending doom. And it all really started with just giving a guy a sandwich and a Bible. Maybe not in that order. I gave him the Bible first. So I feel so relieved. And I just wanted to pass that message of hope. I don't know that I've told you everything. I don't know that I've told you everything. I'm probably not doing the best job at explaining it. And there's probably parts that I'm missing, and I'm going to try to write this down too. But I think this is, and I've been hoping. I don't know if I've even prayed for it, but I've been praying. I've been thinking about, like, what kind of sermon can I bring, if I were in front of a crowd, maybe in front of the mission, in front of the shelter. What kind of message could I bring? And I think this is it. I think this is my first sermon. First true sermon. So, loving your neighbor is truly beneficial for your neighbor and for you. And it's and maybe you get a free sandwich out of it. Maybe you do find a $20 bill in your wallet. Maybe you get good news. Maybe something, if you're really yoked with Jesus and you're really faithful, I trust that good things are going to happen for you. And it might not happen right away, but if you are sincere in your efforts, if you're truly sincere and you have a clean heart and you pray about it and you come to Him in faith and you're doing your part, I think everything's going to work out in the end. And things are looking up for me. So that's my message today. That's what I wanted to share. I hope it inspires someone. I really do. I pray that it would inspire someone. Thank you. God bless.